to learn how to do mobile professional live video. Give me a big yes in the comments. I've got a special guest today. I'm going to introduce him in just a second. And I think you're gonna love today's episode. We're going to do a little demo time, a little show and tell, and you're going to learn about this app that actually gives you the ability to add, more professional type production to a mobile setup, whether you're using a single phone or multiple phones, iPads, all of that good stuff. And it is called Switcher Studio. So we will get all into that real quick. Hey to everyone here. Bobby says, yes, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. Tucson says, Soul Moon's Rising is yes. Awesome. You guys are just excited to get going. By the way, I also want to just make sure, David, fix it, David, fix it, fix it. My comments aren't going away.
Hit the comment button.
I am. Come here, check it out. It's doing something funky.
Oh, I know what it's doing. I know what it is.
Everybody in YouTube, use the fix it emote.
Fix it. Fix it there, Henry.
So you guys, those of you who are talking about the challenge in the comments, get on in there. Today is Lita Live Every Day in April Challenge Day 1, and you do have your mission for today. So make sure that you get on in there, you take those missions, you practice going live, you practice getting on camera, and the whole point of these challenges to this month, thank you very much, David, fixed it. The whole point is to make you more confident on camera and get over those fears. So livestreamingpros.com/challenge, that link is coming to you in the comments right now. Make sure that you get in there and start taking action. That is all we care about. All right. So are you guys ready to do this? I want to intro my good friend, Nick Mattingly from Switcher Studio. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Hey, happy to be here.
Yay, so glad you're here. Now you are, hold on just a second. I'm going to get you kind of up here. David?
What?
His audio, can you increase that? We are live. We're fixing things live.
He's talking on the Go XLR.
What?
It's on the Go XLR.
Yeah.
He's coming through there, so just turn it up.
I know, voice chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way up.
All right, so Nick, tell us what Switcher Studio is.
Switcher is a video creativity platform. It's a way of making video with devices you already have, like iPhones and iPads. And the idea is that you edit while you shoot. So you're capturing life in the moment, and as that's unfolding, you could go from what you have your phone pointed at to put your logo on screen, or switch from the camera to a photo or a video. And if you want another angle or perspective, it's super easy to open the app on another iPhone or iPad and start switching between those. So lets you really professionalize your content, really engage your viewers, and do a lot with hardware you already have.
I love it. And so this, oops, hit the wrong button. I'm in David's studio, so I don't know where all the buttons are today. Nick, I'm going to ask you to just kind of like shift over to your other side. There you go.
There we go.
There you are. There you're
Okay.
in frame. So Switcher Studio, you guys have been around for, gosh, freaking forever, like 5 years?
We launched Switcher in 2014, and we had another product before that for recording. It didn't have the live video component. So We've been at it a while. It just keeps getting better.
It does, and I will be 100% honest with you guys, and I told Nick this before we started. Like, I haven't used Switcher Studio personally in a little while, and when I looked at the app today, I was like, whoa, it looks very different. So as we do demo time today, he's going to walk us through exactly what we need to do, and I will be seeing the interface really for the first time along with you guys, the new updated one. Yes.
What I was planning is when you get to that point, I'll do the demo.
Oh, David's going to do the demo. Fantastic.
I'll just scroll through while you guys talk.
Okay.
Great.
So Alan says, is the software you're demoing iPhone only, or is it Android as well?
Right now we're iPhone only. One of the reasons that we picked iPhone is that there's 18 or 20 devices that are the latest and greatest, and Apple does a great job of encouraging people to stay on the most recent version of the operating system. So
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of heavy lifting, and we're pushing these devices really hard, and would love to do something on Android one day, but the ecosystem is a lot more fragmented. There's thousands of devices, different versions of operating systems, different cameras, processors. We're a small team, so we're not quite ready to tackle that, but maybe one day.
I have full faith that you will get there. So let's get into the demo. I want people to actually visually see what Switcher Studio can do. And so what we're going to do here is actually show you at the core. Oh, that's frozen. And it froze. That's on our side. That's not Switcher Studio's fault. That is our side. We're just going to unplug it and plug it back in, because that's what you do when things go wrong. And guys, if you are new to live streaming, just know that things can go wrong while you're live, and it shouldn't be a point of fear for you. It should be actually a fun, engaging thing with your audience. Just have fun with it, and you're gonna be just fine. David's gonna plug it back in, make sure it's up and running. Looks like it's coming our way here. There we are. Hello.
All right.
So tell us what we should be doing here.
Yeah, so with Switcher, you've got these series of tabs across the bottom of the screen. The first one is the star icon.
Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
David's gonna listen to you as well.
So by default, it's going to show your camera, and that first icon, the star icon, is going to allow you to add photos from your camera roll. We have templates and graphics built in. There's a little plus button where you can access all of that content on your phone and kind of build out your queue. So you can prep all of these in Switcher, and once they're queued up in the app, then they're available for your production.
Would you like guys to know about pho broth?
There we go.
There we go. See how super simple that was? That was incredibly easy to just add stuff in, and then you can, do stuff like what we do here and have, the graphics coming up on screen. Okay, what
One
next?
of the things that we've added to Switcher more recently is Switcher Cloud. So in that plus menu, there is an option for Switcher Cloud. You can log into switcherstudio.com and upload photos and logos from the online experience, and those become available inside of the app. And if there's graphics or icons or images, videos that you use regularly, you can actually upload those from the app experience to your account. And if you're without your phone and somebody else has a device, you can log into your account and access those anywhere, anytime. They'll follow you and your Switcher account. So that's one of the new things that we've added to Switcher we're really excited about. It really streamlines the workflow and makes it easy to be consistent. Also makes it easier to manage multiple projects. If you have different shows, you can load those up to your Switcher Cloud. And we have a higher level of service.
Hold on, stop there for a second, because that's important actually. So what you're saying is, like with vMix, right, on our PC, we have multiple different projects, one for interviews, one for a single show, one for the both of us, things like that, right? Those are different project files. So what you're saying is in Switcher Studio, I can have the same exact thing, different assets that belong to different projects.
Right, so you'll add those to your Switcher Cloud, and then you can pull down the ones that you need depending on what show or program you're doing that day.
That's awesome. That is super helpful.
We've also introduced a Switcher Plus plan that allows you to manage multiple Switcher accounts. So if you have a larger group organization and multiple people are creating content, they can each have their own login. And with that Switcher Cloud, those assets are shared. So if you have certain branding elements or animated titles or templates that you want everyone to use, your admin can load those up and everyone will be on brand. It's also really, really great if you have a campaign. Let's say you want to promote something this month. You can load that up and everyone's using the same call to action. So it's an interesting kind of tweak for creating content across an organization.
I love that. Okay, so you guys keep the questions coming up. We're going to tackle questions here in a little bit after we kind of fully demo this and see everything that it can do. Where else should we go?
So the next icon is the Inputs tab. So if you have Switcher on another iPhone or iPad, as long as it's on the same Wi-Fi network, it'll be available in this list. That other device, you don't have to create an account. It's completely free to download the app and have it operate as a camera. And you could literally pull a stranger off the street, have them download Switcher, and they could become a part of your production. So the only piece to kind of keep in mind here is that they're on the same Wi-Fi network, and you do a little bit of a handshake. So you're not going to automatically hijack their phone. It's going to ask for permissions on both sides before you jump in.
Yes, definitely. I just meant like, it's like, who knows what could happen? But that's the fun of live, isn't it?
Absolutely. So the third tab here is the Outputs tab. This is where you define whether your video is going to go. So from your online Switcher account, you can link different social accounts. You could associate your Facebook or your YouTube. We are a launch partner with LinkedIn Live, so if you have access to that, once you've associated that account, you don't have to do that step ever again. But you can choose where you want to stream. If you just want to record, you can pick none from that menu and it'll record on your device, and you can access that video later to edit or upload to any social platform, or get on your website, take into a regular editor. So yeah, you click this button, it'll walk you through the steps, and then you're ready to go.
Okay. And then
the next one is transitions. So if we're doing switching between a photo and the camera, we can do cut, cross dissolves. We got some fun ones in there. I would stick to cut and cross dissolve.
Yeah, let's not go.
It's a little more
crazy.
professional. And then the last icon you had there is camera controls. So we can go into that and we can zoom the remote camera. We can adjust the white balance. You can lock those settings in. So you've got full control over that camera sensor. And if you have multiple cameras, you can actually remotely control those other devices. So you can define what they look like and what their settings do. Now, one of the things that's magical about Switcher is, right now we're in landscape mode. And this is how we end up watching videos a lot of times. This is how we started the phone experience when we started building out that part of Switcher. It started as an iPad app. So we were trying to cram a lot on a much smaller surface. Well, if you rotate your phone to a portrait, we're going to do some magic here, and you get this whole drawer at the bottom of the screen. So we still have all of those tabs, but we've got a few new ones that you can access here. And those tabs across the bottom, you can actually scroll your finger across to access more. And there's an option where you can rearrange those. So if there's certain tabs that you use more than others, you can choose the order that makes sense for you. So we don't have to click through all of these, but just to give an example, we've got a tab for comments. If you're streaming to Facebook, you can actually see those comments in the app, and you can feature the best ones on screen, just like you are here on vMix. We also have polling for Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can ask a question, you can build out those answers, and you can choose to display those for your audience. So on the video player, they can choose A or B, this or that, waffles versus pancakes. And those results are going to show up on the broadcast. So you can actually create polls and manage when those show on the stream, all from your mobile device.
That's
one that
awesome.
we're really, really excited about is video chat. It's the icon with the box and the two little people. So it's a little bit different workflow, but this will allow you to bring in guests from a different location. So where you've called me in for this production today.
Hold on. We just got a super chat. Thank you, Dr. Elo, for the super chat. All right. Thank you, Dr.
That's
Elo.
great. I apologize for the bad dance moves. I used to DJ in college, and that's why I'm bad at dancing. I was at the soundboard.
I'm terrible as well, so we're in this together.
Yeah. I thought you were just really excited about video chat. So for video chat, you would go to our website, switcherstudio.com, and you would log into your account, and from there you can host the call. You'll also get a link that you can share with that participant. So you're having a conversation kind of in this bubble. But when you go to the app, this video chat tab is going to bring in both participants. So you'll get the audio and video from both people, and you can add that to your production. So from the app, you can put logos and graphics on screen, switch between the callers, set up multi-views.
Switcher to Switcher? A Switcher app, or is it just like a web-based, browser-based?
So it's a browser-based solution. You share a link. The participant, the guest, doesn't have to have an account. They don't have to install any software. They just click it and they're in. And that's cross-platform. So the guest can be on Mac, Android, PC, you name it. As long as they're on a modern browser, you'll be able to get them in as part of your production. Working on some more improvements there as well. We rolled out screen sharing recently, so anybody on the call can actually switch from their camera to their desktop and bring that into the production. We've got people that are kind of hacking this feature, so it's not just kind of conversational formats like we are doing here, but they'll set up a camera in the outfield of a baseball field. Because they don't have great internet when you're out on a baseball field. And as long as that device has LTE or an internet connection, it's available. Or we'll see people that will use it for like a remote reporter where they're on site at a different location. And so there's a lot of different ways people are starting to use this feature. We're seeing remote productions, given what's happening in the world right now. You can't always have 9 cameras in the same room pointed at the same thing. People are spread out. And so we're actually seeing customers that are using Switcher on their iPhone or iPad, and every person that appears on camera is actually a guest on video chat, and they're in different locations, and they're remotely producing that entire event. And the person running it might never be on screen. They can if they choose to, but it's really opening up some very interesting use cases, and we're really excited about what's possible with video chat. We've had 3 times as much usage on that particular component over the past 30 days.
Wow.
So it's been really wild to see what people are doing there.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Great job adding all of that stuff. I mean, you really have, like, you've really added more and more and more just to be able to help support people with what they need. Now, we had a quick scenario for you. So here in the now, like with all of the craziness in the world, we're seeing a lot of demand from, yoga, fitness, dance studios. They're needing to bring their classes online. So David, walk them through the scenario that we're trying to kind of build out and see if this is something that maybe could be done with Switcher Studio.
So basically people are trying to bring in their instructors and stuff, but they also need really good music to be playing in the background that everybody can hear. So is there a way to bring like songs in and have those playing in the background that you get independent volume or anything for? Just out of curiosity.
Oops.
It's not baked into the software just yet. Audio is managed kind of separate from the app experience. You can bring audio in through the headphone jack, the lightning port, and a lot of times people are doing that with an external mic or an audio mixer. So right now we don't have a lot of deep audio controls. We kind of manage that as a separate workflow. And as long as it hits that main device where you're running the kind of production, it's going to match up with everything that you're producing. That said, it is something that we're hearing more and more, and that there's a need for that. So those tabs at the bottom, audio effects, soundboards, those are some things that we could work toward in the future.
Okay.
And also, people are asking, does the app also talk to a Mac?
Oops. Thank you.
We have an application called SwitcherCast for Mac and PC that you can install on your desktop, and it allows the entire display to become a camera. So if you wanted to show your website, if you wanted to play a video, if you're streaming a game, that can become available in Switcher. So the actual production is iOS only, so iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch also works as well. But we do have a separate application called SwitcherCast that allows your entire display to come in. We also were one of the first solutions to offer iOS screen sharing. So from your mobile device, from your iPhone or iPad, you can actually have the entire surface available inside of Switcher. So if you wanted to show Google Maps or a Twitter feed, demo another app, you'll play a VR game, there's a lot of really interesting use cases there as well. So we have information on how to set that up in our help center. It's on our website at switcherstudio.com. And we've got another update in a couple of weeks where we're going to make that feature even easier and more accessible to get to.
Awesome.
And then another question is Wi-Fi versus being like Ethernet. Is there a way to use Ethernet?
Yeah, so one of the great things about Switcher Multicam is if you have a good Wi-Fi network, you can set up super quickly. You don't have to spend half a day running cables. You can be really mobile and go into different setups. But if you really need that hardwired connection, Apple has adapters. You can go from Lightning to Ethernet and run that through standard networking routers. We've done setups where we have hybrid setups, and some devices are wired that are kind of fixed cameras, and we'll have like an access point or a wireless capability on that router where other cameras are on the same subnet, on the same network, and they're able to roam. We actually learned about this from one of our customers years and years ago when WWE was kicking the tires on Switcher. They have hundreds of events that are not televised, but they do the whole show, the whole production, and they were experimenting with ways to try to bring those online. And so they actually had like 3 or 4 people with gimbals and phones around the rink, and they had cameras where they were doing Ethernet, and they're the ones that told us that you could do that. And so we've been recommending that ever since.
So do you see, or did they see, or do you see with other customers a difference between the solidness, if you will, of the ones that are connected via Ethernet and not?
In some cases, with something like Switcher, 2 of the biggest questions that people typically have are related to audio and networking, and those are just 2 parts of the experience that we can't directly solve through product. So we'll make recommendations on audio, we'll make recommendations on Wi-Fi's, routers, those types of setups. If you're doing a Wi-Fi setup, some general rule of thumb is elevate your router. A lot of times people have those setting on the floor or behind their TV or in a closet. If you can get it up, it's going to have a little bit better coverage. And also pay attention to the distance between your router and your devices. If you can bring your devices a little bit closer to Wi-Fi, you're going to have a better experience. And there are ways to extend that. Yeah. But I think for a lot of people, Wi-Fi is kind of just magical thing. And there's this other thing called physics. And so we're trying to introduce best practices and give people some recommendations on that. Google Wi-Fi has a great system where you can start with 1 router and you can buy kits that create a mesh network to cover larger areas. So that's one that's really easy to use. That's really easy to find on Amazon and Best Buy and Walmart and a lot of retailers. So if you don't have a lot of networking chops, that's a good kind of place to start for those types of setups. If wired is really important, maybe even more so for the main device where you want to have a dedicated connection for that outgoing stream. It can make a big difference. But we had a big update for Switcher we rolled out last week. This is one of the first releases where we've done a 7-day rolling update, so it wasn't available for everyone all at once. Today is day 7, and it is publicly available for anyone. Anywhere.
You get the update. You get the update. You get the update.
And one of the things our team has been working really, really hard on for the past 6 months is how to make the video quality better, especially when you might not have a great network or you might not understand all the intricacies of Wi-Fi. And so we have officially rolled out some major changes that improve the quality, give you a better, smoother video in a lot of different networking environments. And we're already getting really great feedback on people that are seeing immediate results. Some even first-time customers that streamed their church service last week and then they did it this past weekend and it looked twice as good. So awesome. Kudos to our engineers and the team on that. We wanted to get it out a long time ago, but it's a really big change and something we wanted to do a lot of testing with. We also introduced a public beta group where we made that available to some of our customers leading up to the launch. And that's something that we plan to do on a go-forward basis with some of our bigger releases. So where we've held things a little close to our chest in the past, or we've just gone straight to making those available for customers. We're doing a lot of updates all the time, and we now have a formal beta program. So if you join our user group on Facebook at Switcher Studio Enthusiasts, there's also information on how to get into that private beta group for new things that we might be working on.
That's awesome. So Switcher Studio Enthusiasts on the Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And then I have a question as well. So
hold on. I want before we dig into that, I wanted to stay on the topic of gear real quick and just ask, are there specific pieces of gear that you that you would
stay on internet
speed. Oh, you wanted to stay on internet speed. Okay, I thought you were going way off.
No. Does the app cap you based on your internet speed? So let's say I have a lower internet speed. Is it only going to let me stream it for 80 or 720 or what? And what's the max that it can send out? And like I said, does it see your bandwidth and know how much you can push out?
Yeah, so we have a speed test feature built in. So if you run that before you go to create your Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, it'll automatically configure all of those settings. So for the nerds that have been doing RTMP for a long time, I know resolution and bitrate, you've got full control over all of those in the advanced settings. But for everyone else, you can run that speed test and it'll automatically configure those settings for you. So that's something that's available in Switcher. We officially support up to 720p for live video. We do have an experimental feature for 1080p streaming. If you're doing Facebook, you will need to create that event from the Switcher app or from our dashboard, that's something that we have special access to and has to be configured through our API. So if you start that experience with Switcher and you enable that in your online account, it is available. YouTube and others, you can also do 1080p. You'll want to log into switcherstudio.com, go to that experimental features tab and turn that one on. So really excited to be able to offer that. We also have a feature called director mode that will trigger recording on each camera. So if you have multiple angles or different perspectives, you're not limited to the decisions that you make on the fly and that recording that's available immediately afterwards. You can actually tell each camera to start a recording from the beginning and roll all the way through the end. And that capture can be up to 4K. So you have access to all of that raw media for post-production. So with director mode, you can get the best of both worlds, where you could stream at a really low quality, like 360p, because maybe your internet's not great, but you can get it out and it's live. And you could record it up to 4K and have full control over what you do with that after the fact.
And then chop it up and do the things you need to do, repurpose that content.
And can it also do 60 frames per second?
We're capped out at 30p right now.
Okay.
He's a big 60 frames per second guy.
That's all I do is 60.
You can go down from there. So, if you're in the EU, we got 25 FPS and
there you go.
A few other options for you.
Okay, so let's talk gear real quick, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what mic should I get? Or what, you know, like just some basic, simple gear setups that you love.
So one of the great things about Switcher is that you don't need a big shopping list to get started. There's so much you can do from the one device, even if you're just starting with your phone, being able to go beyond what you're pointing your camera at to put your logo on screen, show images, animated graphics and titles. There's a lot of opportunity to really elevate the quality of what you're putting out there, the production level, I guess I should say. As far as audio, the headset that comes with your phone is a great place to start, especially if it's just one person talking. It's going to give you a little more controlled sound that's closer to where you're speaking, and there's the ability to monitor that audio as well. So without spending anything, the headset that comes with your device is really great. AirPods you can use to hear, but the microphones we aren't able to tap into just yet. There's some things with Apple we're trying to sort out there. But in general, if you want to do more with sound, think about sound as its own animal. And that might mean buying an external microphone that connects to the headphone port or the lightning jack, or a full-blown audio mixer. As long as you route that through the main device, it'll match up with your entire production. So iRig is iRig is one that we see a lot of people gravitate toward. They've got really affordable adapters for bringing in XLR feeds and mixers and microphones. They start at $30 or $40 and work with most standard audio equipment.
Yeah. Speaking of gear, positive life change. So I'm using the Sony a6400 right now. You can go down to the a5100 for a studio setup. That's an entirely different setup, though, than what we're talking about, because we're talking all mobile right now. So, like, I'm coming to you from my studio, but you with Switcher Studio, you guys can get big like production kind of setups and add graphics. And if you missed the earlier demo, definitely go back and watch that, because we showed you everything that you can do. Well, not everything. We skipped out on some awesome stuff as well. We do have a bunch of questions, and thank you for breaking down some of the gear stuff. And if you're looking for specific scenarios or anything like that with gear, another option to check out is D. Nimmons' channel, and that he talks a lot about mobile gear, mics, things like that. So that would be a great resource for you guys if you're looking for specific scenarios for different mics and things like that. All right, so we've got, can you stream with Switch? Oh yeah, go ahead, hold on.
I was going to show you this real
quick.
More
gear talk, yes.
Again, you don't need a lot, but getting your device on a tripod, getting that kind of stable shot is going to improve the quality. Getting good audio is going to help. We're good friends with Dave and the folks over at iOgrapher.
Yeah.
And they've got a starter kit for live streaming that's a phone clip. I think they even have a ring light, one of these little tripods. There's an audio solution built in. It starts at less than $100. I think it's like $89, and it's a really, really great starter kit. And they've got a lot of other options if you want to go beyond that and do more. So if you're looking for a one-stop shop on the gear side, they've come up with a really great solution specific to live video, especially mobile video, and what people can do with Switcher.
I love it. Okay, so this is a great question because on YouTube, for those of you who don't know, you cannot stream from the YouTube app on your phone under 1,000 subscribers. Can you do that with Switcher Studio?
Yeah, so that limitation is specific to the YouTube app.
Exactly.
If you're using a third-party encoder, you can get started from day one. You do have to enable YouTube Live on your YouTube account. Sometimes that can have like a 24-hour wait period. We'll kind of push you through that process if you're doing YouTube for the first time. So that's the only thing you'd have to be aware of, is that if you wanted to go live right on the spot, you might have to get approved by YouTube, and that's typically, within a few hours, sometimes up to 24 hours. But you don't have to have 1,000 followers to get going. You can connect Switcher and your YouTube account, and you can go live on day one.
See that, and then we just recorded a video where we mentioned this because it's such a needed thing, especially right now. People are just literally getting started with YouTube, and they need to go live quickly. So instead of a full-on, production setup, like, this is a perfect solution.
We see a lot of people going live on Facebook Live. That's one of the biggest destinations for us. We see a lot of people that are recording video, so they're producing this content, and they might upload it as a premiere or on YouTube, or a watch party on Facebook, where it's kind of scheduled to go live, where people are watching it even though it was recorded previously. YouTube, over the past couple of weeks, we went 3 or 4 days where we were hitting our quota. Like, we were just seeing so many videos come through that some people weren't able to stream. And so we were able to work with YouTube and get that bumped. That's not a problem anymore. We did temporarily limit YouTube streaming to paid subscribers. So we have a 14-day trial. Anybody can get started. You don't have to put in a credit card. But temporarily, we have had to limit that to paid customers just because they're expecting to go live and they're already scheduling events. I think we're on the other side of that, so we'll sort that out here soon. But it's just unbelievable the amount of content that's going out right now. Yeah. We also, as part of this 4.4 release, introduced Twitch streaming. So if you aren't able to stream to YouTube or one of these other platforms, Twitch is another great free alternative, and you can get a link to share that content. I guess one thing to keep in mind with something like Twitch is that it doesn't automatically record your video on Twitch. It's kind of live and then it's gone. Whereas YouTube and Facebook will kind of save that video and keep the post there for people that might come back and watch afterwards. So it is an option, but you've got to go in and enable that, at least in the kind of default mode.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. And speaking of like everybody just kind of coming into this world, there's a lot of questions between Zoom and the Facebook Live and, the different services that people can use. Dimitri is asking, can you compare the quality, outgoing to maybe social platforms versus Zoom, things like that?
Yeah. So Switcher is on the front end for how video gets made. It's an input. Just think of it as like the best mobile way to make video, regardless of where you're sending it. So we've made easy integrations with a lot of the major platforms, and the quality in a lot of cases is going to be dependent on your connectivity or the devices that you're using. So obviously, if you're on a newer iPhone with a better camera, it's going to look better. If you're using the rear-facing camera versus the front-facing camera, it's going to look a little bit better. Audio is really important for lighting is really important for mobile video. So if you're in a darker lit room, you're going to have a little more macro blocking, more shadows. There's not as much contrast between the subject and the background, versus if you're sitting in front of a window and you've got some light coming on you, or you've got lights that you can set up. That's going to have a big impact on the quality of your video as far as how that looks for other people. If you want to, you can use Switcher as an input for things like Zoom. So Zoom has a screen sharing feature where you can actually mirror your phone. And so with Switcher, we support AirPlay, and you can actually AirPlay straight into Zoom using that feature. We have this documented in our Help Center. So if you go to switcherstudio.com Help Center, you can search Switcher and Zoom, and it's got some steps to walk you through this. And in Switcher, there's the Outputs tab we talked about earlier. There's an option for external display where you can choose to show the entire app interface, so all of the buttons and the things that you see while you're running it, or just the program feed, which is what you'd be sending out on your stream. And actually, we talked about that setting here right before we got set up for the demo today. So there is a workflow to use Switcher as kind of your camera for your end of the conversation, and you can send that into Zoom. I've actually got some like webinars and some universities that I'm going to be jumping in and like teaching classes for, where we'll have Switcher set up on our end of the conversation while everybody else is kind of interacting on the Zoom platform.
And actually, that is perfect for teachers, for the fitness and the yoga and the dance studios who need to do private streams for students only, right? So that they can have that going into a private Zoom situation. That's great. So you basically, it's through AirPlay is what you're saying.
Right. And so, you know, Zoom has done a great job of making their platform available to more people, especially given the things that are happening in the world right now. I think there's people that have never heard of Zoom that are jumping on it now. My 80-year-old grandmother is like making Zoom calls. And then we've got, you know, people that I work with that have, you know, 4-year-old kids. They're like doing Zoom calls with their classmates. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see everybody kind of experience video in this way. And you know, while Switcher's not the place to watch, it's a really great input for a lot of these different platforms. If you're doing Zoom from your computer or even your phone, it's going to be kind of that talking head and the one thing that it's pointed at. And what we see on a lot of computers, the built-in webcam, it's the same webcam they were putting in these devices 5 years ago. They haven't changed a lot. Yeah. Every 6 months, Apple's putting out a new, better phone. So just by using your phone, the quality that you get going through a platform like Zoom is going to be a lot better. And so Switcher being, you know, mobile first, and then being able to add those other production components really makes it start to shine.
All right, so we have a question that I've actually seen quite a bit in the past as well. Can you add a webcam as a source into Switcher Studio?
So that's our video chat feature. If you go to switcherstudio.com and log in, you will actually be hosting the call starting from that device. So that could be your computer, that could be another iPhone or iPad. Just go to the Safari browser and log in there. And you'll be using that webcam. And your guest or your participant will be using that as well. You don't necessarily have to use that with another person in another room or another country. You could use video chat within your own environment, your own setup. So you go into video chat, get that link, and open it on one of your other devices. And then you're gonna have the audio and the video from that, or you could use the webcam that's connected to your computer. Switcher Cast, the application that we have for screen sharing that you can actually install, the Mac version does support the webcam. So it will not only bring in the display, but the built-in webcam in most USB type devices. It also is recognized by like the Snap camera. So if you're using the filters and effects, you can pull those into Switcher as well.
Awesome. Now we have a question that's kind of a general question here. So every live streaming platform has latency or lag. And this is something that, you know, people are asking a lot about these days because it's brand new to a lot of people. Not necessarily. Sorry. I was like, wait, this is coming up as Corey. It's on Matt. It's a Matt over here. So that threw me. But anyway, you know, in terms of dealing with latency, it's not on the Switcher Studio side or the platform. I mean, it's not on any like tool side. It's on the platforms themselves. It's just that communication. Do you have any general tips for how to deal with that when trying to be interactive?
Yeah, so lag or that delay can happen in a couple different parts of the chain. And I'm sure you all talked a lot about this in some of your other streams, but think about your audience that's watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or wherever that might be. You know, for them, they're seeing that video for the very first time. For them, that experience is live, whether it hits them 10 seconds after you said it or 30 seconds after it happened. So if you're making video and you're making it with Switcher or vMix or any one of these solutions, and you've got a computer next to you where you're watching that stream, that delay between what you're creating and what the viewer sees is going to be a little bit different for every participant. Some are going to get it sooner rather than others. It has to hop through a lot of hoops to get to people, and they're doing a lot of things to scale that so that a lot of people can watch. And you've got videos where there's thousands and thousands of people watching. They're all going to be seeing it for the first time, and for them, it really is a live experience. So when you're creating that content, really focus on your production tool, focus on the content and the things that you're saying. And if you do that, it's going to be received by everybody else. Even when you watch television, they have a built-in delay. Like award shows, they'll do it on purpose so that they can bleep out the things that they don't want you to hear. So it's just a part of live video. It's still very immediate. It's a lot different experience than recording something, copying it to your computer, editing it, moving things around, watching it render, watching it upload. Like there's a lot of downtime where you're not actively engaging and having a conversation. And once you upload that, there's a conversation that may or may not happen. And how engaged you are with that has a big impact on the effect that that content has. So I think the immediacy of live is really different. It allows the viewer to help drive the conversation. It allows you to get okay with making mistakes. You do it on the fly, and we're building relationships. And one of the things that we're really striving for with Switcher is to help people make better video more often. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about live video is that as soon as you're done, and you can get back to work, or you can turn around and make a whole new video. So we're seeing a lot more frequency and content with this particular format. So I wouldn't get too hung up on lag, especially if you're looking at your production tool and what's being streamed on YouTube or Facebook. It's a good way to kind of check and just make sure that it's punching through and that you actually are live. But don't necessarily sit there and watch your stream while it's happening. It's using up your internet. Everybody's using the internet right now.
Save the internet.
Turn that thing off. I mean, save the internet. I want a shirt.
I love it. Nick, thank you so very much. People have been saying this is really super helpful, and you guys definitely go to switcherstudio.com. That is where you can find this app. You can download it. You can learn all about it. We'll be producing some, videos on our YouTube channel as well, but they have got you taken care of in terms of all of the help resources that they have on their website. Again, I think that this is an amazing tool. It always has been, but especially right here and now, as people need to get going quickly, it's a really super handy tool that gives you more flexibility from your phone, and without having to, like Nick said earlier, spend a whole lot of money, right? So thank you, Nick. Any final words or thoughts or things that you want to share with everybody?
I mean, thank you for having me. I guess the one thing that's been really top of mind for me, and then as we look at the tool that we're building and how people are creating content, a lot of people are talking about live videos sooner than they would have otherwise. Yeah. And part of that is because there is an immediate and urgent need to stay connected. And that's something that's very top of mind for us. We're trying to think about how we can help people stay connected. Now, there are a lot of businesses that are struggling today. There are people that have had to close their doors. They've had to lay people off. We are uniquely in a different situation right now, and we're looking for ways that we can give back. And one of the things that we've done more recently, last week, we introduced special nonprofit pricing. So for a period of time, you can go to our website, Switcher Studio, and search nonprofit, and you're going to be able to get a discount on our plans for the next 3 months. We also looked at our video chat feature, which in the past has had a certain usage or limit across the different levels of service. You get a certain amount of time every month, and we've offered unlimited video chat hours across every plan. So that's something that we're temporarily doing because there is a big need and a lot of people are relying on that feature. We're looking for more ways that we can give back. So if you've got a story to tell, if you've got content you need to get out there, if you're trying to keep your community connected, check out Switcher. And we're really trying to help everybody. We're seeing a lot of people come to us that are making video for the very first time. And the support aspect is really important for us. We don't have phone support, but we have email support. We've got a lot of people on the team that are really knowledgeable about this product and video production that can help troubleshoot and work through those things. We've got an incredible user group and online community with Switcher Studio enthusiasts. People are sharing videos, asking questions, helping one another. We've built out a lot of self-help resources through our help center that's available through the website. So if you have a question, check out the website. A lot of it's already there. Don't be afraid to contact support and check out the user group. There are a lot of people that have been doing this for a long time that are there and they're willing and ready and able to help. So thank you for having us.
well
switcherstudio.com, and we're here, and happy streaming.
Yes, definitely. Well said. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the streaming community and for everybody going through these rough times. And you guys, switcherstudio.com. Thank you so much, Nick. All right.
Thanks.
Say
Take
bye.
care. Bye.